What's up, nail friends? Today's video, I wanted to do a purple themed set. So I'm going to be using some beautiful colors and glitters from Glitterbels, which we sell on the Nail Throne site. In this video, I'm going to show you guys everything basically, full file down of her past set. I'm going to show you guys prep, color application, encapsulation, and finish filing. So if you guys are interested in all that, just keep watching. So to start, this was her past set. I've already clipped off the crystals and then I decided to show you guys what they look like before. So I do have a video up of this. It was posted recently. The bit I'm using to remove her past set is from Get Buff Nails. It's called the Pomade, I think. I will link it in my description box. It's a really great bit. I love it for filing down acrylics. So I applied a clear base down before in her past set. So I'm just going to be filing this set down to that clear base. So I'm taking a hand file and I'm just fixing up the sidewalls, and then I'm going back to my file. So I like to switch back and forth so that the file doesn't get hot and burn my client. So sometimes I will file a little, put my file down and use my hand files, or I will just switch fingers, stuff like that. You just don't want to burn your client and have it be uncomfortable or cause any pain. So when using this bit, I'm not really putting a lot of pressure down, but I am definitely putting a little bit of pressure down to file most of this product off, especially when I'm filing right now, trying to get the bulk of it. But when you start to get close to your clear base, you'll want to ease up on your pressure. So again, I'm switching to my hand file and refining her sidewalls and the very tip again. And then I just continue to do this on all the nails until I have them filed down thin enough to start prepping the cuticle area. So I always work on one hand at a time. So I will actually file down this full hand and fully prep this hand before even starting the other hand. Some people like to go back and forth, but I don't really trust my clients to have super thin nails and then take their hand away because they might break a nail. I've had that happen from experience. I've been like, don't break your nail. Here's your hand back. I'm going to work on your other hand. And then they somehow break one and then I have to fix it. So I don't trust my clients enough for that. So I just work on one hand at a time. I get all the nails filed down. I prep all the nails. I have my clear base and then I work on the other hand just in case. Skipping ahead a little bit, I filed all the nails down to the clear base, and now I'm going to push the skin back with the Luminary Nail Systems cuticle tool. I really like this one because it's kind of got like a ledge at the end there, so you can kind of lift up the skin there. Instead of just pushing it back, you kind of push and lift. Now I'm using this tool, which is also from Get Buff Nails, and I'm just have it on the forward speed. I'm just going down the left side. Then I'm going to actually switch on my e-file, the reverse, and then I'm going down the right side. It just makes it a little bit easier for getting all the little pieces of skin that need to come up off. After that, I'm switching to the diamond flame bit, which we sell on the Nail Throne from Luminary. And I'm doing the exact same thing, going down the one side first, reversing my e-file, and then going down the other side. And then I'm just using this ball bit that we sell on the Nail Throne site just to push the skin out of the way to make it a little bit easier for application. You just want to make sure that you don't have any skin in the way, which will cause lifting. And then I'm going to be scrubbing the nails with a scrub brush and some alcohol to finish off my prep. The monomer I'm going to use here is my hammer-free monomer from Glitterbels. I'm just pouring it in my pretty sparkly Dappen dish, which is just a tea light holder from HomeSense. So now I'm going to go in and apply my dehydrator. Of course, it's Glitterbels. Everything I use is Glitterbels. I'm going to let that dry for a second, and then I'm switching over to the acid-free primer and just applying this sparingly over the nails as well. So I'm going to be using my Glitterbels number 10 brush and my Glitterbels Glass Slippers Clear to do my clear base. When I dip in my Dappen dish, I only dip the very tip in to pick up a little bit of this. You can see I don't really dip my whole brush in. I just dip the tip in and I wipe it. And then I picked up a bead, and it was a medium to small bead. Placed it at the cuticle area. I use the very tip of my brush to kind of push into it and push it up towards the cuticle area. Do not overlap the skin or you'll cause lifting. So you want to keep this a slight hair from the skin. Okay, so after this step is done, now we can do the application. So I'm going to be using Hyacinth. This is a beautiful medium purple with blue glitter in it. I love this one. So I'm just going to pick up a bead and I'm going to place it along the line where the natural nail is and the enhancement. I'm going to pat that into place and drag this down the nail. This nail is going to be an ombre nail. Both hands are going to be different, so I will show you how I did both hands. So here I'm just flipping my brush and using the very tip of my brush to pull the color up the nail. That's how we're going to get that blended, faded ombre look. And then I'm going to take my brush and use the tip and the belly of my brush to pull the product down. And then I'm just going to pat gently and remove some of the product that I don't need and just pat it evenly around at the tip especially. You can clean off your brush as many times as you need. You should clean off your brush because it helps the product not stick to it when your brush is nice and clean. So I'm just going to pat that up, push it kind of up towards, and then use the belly of my brush to even that out. I'm going to leave that for a little bit before applying my ombre, just so it is a little bit dry. And then we're going to go in with the unicorn tears. This one is a beautiful light purple. It's kind of shimmery. I'm placing a bead near the cuticle area, again pushing in, using my other hand fingers there to support my one hand with the brush, and that helps me get a closer application and just more control over my product. So I'm just applying this near the cuticle area and kind of painting this one on because this isn't going to be my main color on this nail. We're going in with Purple Passion now. This is a solid colored acrylic that has glitter added in it, has some like gold glitter, some thorn glitter, it has some silver diamond shapes. It's really pretty. So I'm just applying this on the tip of this nail. So I picked up a bead, it wasn't enough, so I applied a little bit more. I'm not doing much where the line is because I'm going to overlap that with more glitter, but I am just going to make this the full bottom half of the nail. So I'm just lightly fading that up and then pulling this down to try to get full coverage. Then we're going to go in with Savannah. This is such a beautiful glitter. I love this one. It's got a lot of those little flakes in it that the crushed glitters have in it, but it's also holographic, so it's super beautiful. So I'm going along the line here. I'm just kind of fading this up with the tip of my brush towards the one corner, and then I'm overlapping the two colors. Then I'm going to go in over top of Unicorn Tears with Michaela. This is just an iridescent glitter, but it's so beautiful. So I picked up a little bit. I don't want too much to cover up that because I really want to see that beautiful unicorn tear color underneath. But this just adds a little bit of glitter and makes this like a really pretty glitter fade nail. And again, I'm pulling the skin back to wipe and pat, trying to make the nails as even as I can so that finish filing is easier. That's what I always find. Try to apply it super, super thin and even. It makes it easier when you want to finish file. So that's how that nail looks. Now we're going to go back to the pinky and I'm going to apply my favorite cover pink. Clearly, as I've already gone through half a thing, you guys know I don't do nails full time. So for me to go through half a thing of core powder, like I must love this one. And I do. This is my favorite cover pink. So this is the plush cover. I applied a bead in the center. I fade that down the nail with the tip of my brush and then I go in with my cuticle bead. I'm actually going to apply a little bit more of that purple because I covered up too much of the purple. This cover pink is really opaque, so you really don't need a lot of it to do your ombre. It's great for ombre. So once I've faded that down the nail, now I'm just gonna clean up anything that needs to be cleaned up, wiping it, making it as even as I can, and then I'm just picking up a little bit more of that purple and applying it on the tip where the cover pink covered it up. And then I'm flipping my brush and fading that into plush cover. So that nail's done, and we're moving on to the middle finger. Going into Savannah, and this nail is going to be Savannah at the top, and then I'm going to go in with another glitter at the tip, which I'll show you guys in a sec. So I picked up a big bead. This one has thin enough glitters in it that you don't need a fine glitter underneath, because this is more like a fine glitter with some chunks added in it. So I can apply this around the cuticle area and get an even application because it's got that fine glitter in it. And I'm just fading this down the nail. Now we're going to go in with a darker glitter mix here called Ify. And I'm going to apply this along the line and fade this down the nail. This one is so beautiful. I love this one. It's kind of like dark glitter mixed with lighter glitters, and they're kind of got those round glitters, and it's really, really pretty. So So I'm just using the tip of my brush to kind of pull the darker glitters into the lighter color at the top. And then I'm going to use my brush to pat and pull the product so I can get full even coverage at the tip. I'm going to have to add more though because I don't have enough on my nail here. But I'm first going to make it nice and even. Then I'm going to go in with more of that Savannah glitter to fade it nicely so it's got that nice fade. See, if you work on the nail and it's a little too wet, it'll be a little bit harder to move your glitter. So that's sometimes why I'll work on one nail and then move on and come back to it, just so that you don't accidentally pull off all your glitters and spend more time working on it. Which is kind of what happened here. That's why there's less glitter on the very tip there. I'm gonna have to add more. So that's after adding more. I just kind of skipped through just so it wasn't too much. So now moving on, I'm cleaning off my brush, and on the pointer finger on this nail, I am going to do unicorn tears. So going in at the cuticle area, pushing in, getting it close to the skin without touching the skin. To do that, you just move your brush very lightly and gently. Keep the finger on a downward motion so that the product doesn't seep into the cuticle area. Use gravity to your advantage. Then once I get it near the cuticle area and I'm happy, then I can drag this product down the nail. So this nail is going to be full unicorn tears with some flakies on top. But first, I have to pull it down the nail and get full coverage before adding my flakies. So I'm just dipping into my monomer, picking up a little bit more of that unicorn tears, and I'm just placing it on the nail to get full coverage of the tip. So now I'm going to go in with some flakes. These are from the Glitterbels site. This is number 2. They're just like some pretty rainbowy iridescent flakies. And I'm just picking up a little bead of clear acrylic, dipping into the flakes on my brush, and then I'm just putting them on the nail and kind of pushing them into place. This doesn't have to be perfect or anything. It's just kind of like a purple nail with some flakies on top. It'll be really pretty in the end. Okay, so here's how this hand looks. Now we're gonna move on to the other hand. I didn't bother showing you guys her thumbs because it went blurry, or else I would have. What's the point of showing you guys blurry work, right? So on the ring finger on this hand, I'm just going in with that beautiful hyacinth color. I'm gonna do this as a full nail, but first I like to apply, when I do full colors, I usually like to apply, actually I guess I kind of do it randomly, but for this nail I decided to apply it on the very tip first and then do my cuticle bead. Kind of depends on what I'm doing, kind of just how I'm feeling, because I did it on her pointer finger on the other hand. I started with the cuticle, so it really just depends. This is actually the way I prefer to do it. I find that you don't pull off as much color by accident when you do it that way. So now I'm going in with my cuticle bead, pushing in, getting close to the skin without touching the skin. We've got that clear layer down to help protect our natural nail from color so that when we file back down. Then I'm just pulling this into the tip, patting into place. I'm going to let this one dry a little bit before coming back and adding glitter to it. And then I'm going to work on her middle finger. So on her middle finger on this hand, I'm going to do an Ombre Fade with unicorn tears, plush cover, and I'm going to add those flakies on this one. But first I'm going to do the color. So I'm just applying this along the line, fading it down the nail, painting it down the nail basically. Then I'm going to apply a little bit more of that unicorn tears to build up the color, especially at the tip. You can see I wipe off my brush a lot on my paper towel. That way it's not too wet and you don't accidentally pull off all the product that you just put on the nail. So I'm letting that nail dry before adding my plush cover, and on this nail I'm going back to it and applying Michaela, the iridescent glitter. I'm just kind of adding it just for fun, for some extra little glitter. And then I'm going to go into the unicorn flakes and add those as well. I picked up too much, so I put them on the paper towel, and then I'm just using the tip of my brush to pick up the amount I actually want. And I'm applying that where I applied Michaela for extra glitter. I'm going to pat that into place, clean off my brush, and now we're going to go in with plush cover to do our Ombre Fade, the line across the line first. Fade that down into unicorn tears, and then I'm going to pick up my cuticle bead and get that into place. Push into it, close to the cuticle area, not quite touching the skin. Cleaning off my brush often, using the tip to get close into those corners of the cuticle area. And then fading that over top of the unicorn tears. I'm just adding a little bit more of the unicorn tears just because I covered up a lot of that color with the plush cover. Just at the tip. Fading that down. And then we're going to add these flakes. So in this video, they appear like a weird yellow color, but in person, they were really pretty. So I don't know if it's just the angles showing you guys this weird yellow color, but they don't look like that in person. So they're more like a blue flake. It's just weird yellow right now. But when they're all encapsulated and done, you guys will see in the end that they don't look yellow. So I don't know why. It must be just pulling color from somewhere else. So on the pinky, I added the purple passion color first, but my camera wasn't focused, so I just skipped through, and now I'm adding Savannah at the cuticle area, and I'm gonna fade this down into that glitter. I missed a little bit, or pulled off a little bit of that purple passion color, so I'm just replacing what I accidentally pulled off with the tip of my brush. Moving on to her pointer finger on this hand. I had to fix this nail because it was broken. So whenever I have to fix a nail, sometimes I like to do it just clear glass because it's pretty, why not? So going in with Michaela, especially at the cuticle area, and then I'm gonna fade this down the nail. I'm gonna leave this nail nice and clear because, like I said, why not? She likes her nails different, both hands, so she gets a clear nail. So I'm leaving a little bit of that space at the tip to be empty, and I'm gonna go in with those unicorn kind of flakies to add more glitter to this nail. And here is how this hand looks before encapsulation. And here are they side by side. I was taking a look to see if they flowed nicely. I thought that this hand needed a little bit more of the darker glitter added to it to make them flow better. So I'm going in with the Eefy glitter, and I'm just applying this along the nail to darken it up a little bit. Now that both hands are done, I come back to the first hand I was working on, and now we can encapsulate these nails. All the nails are dry, so I'm going into my clear acrylic, picking up a medium-sized bead, placing that along the line, and I'm just trying to build up my tip first. This nail looked thick enough from the side here, but I still need to cover up that blended line because you don't want to file into that and then ruin your blend. So I am encapsulating this nail for that reason. I'm going to build up my apex with the clear as well. At this point though, you really wouldn't need to because the plush cover is a core powder, so it is strong enough on its own. So you could build your apex up with your core powders if you want to as well, but personally I just like to encapsulate everything the exact same way and file it thin. It's just how I like to do it, but you can do it however you want as long as you have your apex. So I'm only going to show you the 3 nails of application, but here is how both hands look after they've been encapsulated. So like I said, I like to apply my acrylic so that I have minimal finish filing to do at the end. So I'm going back to my diamond carbide bit because it's nice and not too coarse. And I'm just using this to go around the cuticle area, and then I'm going up the sides just to make sure that my sidewalls come straight out. down the barrel to make my C curve even more defined. And then I'm going over the whole nail just to debulk it. I usually do 3 fingers at a time, so before hand filing, I'm just repeating that process on the first 3 nails. I like this bit because of how thin it is at the very tip of it, which makes it great for going around your cuticle area. So I'm using a 150 grit hand file, and I am refining my shape, going under the nail to make sure that I can get this to come straight out. I thin out the sidewalls, I go over the whole nail, I go around the cuticle area with this. I try to be really gentle and careful around the cuticle area because you don't want to irritate the skin there. So make sure you're just not touching the skin while you do that. And then I'm buffing all the nails really well with this, trying to make sure that the product looks really even from all angles. So you want to take a look at your nail from a bunch of different angles. So look at it from the side, look down the barrel, all that, and just make sure that it is nice and even. I do spend quite a bit of time hand filing at the end just because I like the nails to look as perfect as I can. I like to thin them out, especially on the side walls, and make sure that the center of the nail has the most thickness for the apex. And then I'm going up and down at the tip to try to refine that. Now I'm gonna speed this up a little bit and do that on the last 2 nails I was working on, so the middle finger and the ring finger. So I do it the exact same way, where I go around the cuticle area carefully, the side walls, and then do the whole nail to make sure it's nice and even while looking at it from all different angles. I always find that the middle finger needs a little bit extra filing with your hand file because the middle finger can get nice and bulky on the sides, and because it's a bigger finger in general, you want to make sure that it doesn't look too bulky or else it'll look out of place. It looks crazy when I have it sped up this fast. I'm definitely a lot slower than this, that's for sure. And here is how they look so far. So now I'm going to brush off all the dust that I left on the nail, and then I'm going to buff the nails. So I'm just use 2 pink buffing blocks. I've told you guys this before. I glue them together to make it nice and big so that I can go back and forth easily, because you know these little buffing blocks are so small, so I don't know how anyone would buff with just one. So I glue them together. And then I go along these side walls. I'm trying to make sure there's no extra little pieces that are going to be sticking up there. And then I go over the nail gently, especially around the cuticle area. But you're just going to want to gently go over the nail because you don't want to buff the nail too much or else your top coat won't stick to it. But you just want to make sure to get any deep scratches out so that they don't show when you apply your top coat. So here is how they look again. I'm happy with that, but I think I did take my hand file and file the sides of this one and the pinky. Like I said, just keep going until you're happy with it. Don't stop just because of the time. So I always like to take my time with my hand filing and make sure that they look perfect. So that's the one hand filed and the other hand has not been filed yet. So now both hands are done and we can add some crystals. So I'm going to be adding this big fun shaped one in the center of this nail. And then I'm going to add some crystals around it. So I just kind of do whatever I want with the crystals. I didn't really have a plan for anything in this set. I just had the colors planned. So basically this client of mine, we like to do whatever on her nails. I kind of just like play around and I just kind of do what I feel like in the moment. So I never really have a plan for her. So I didn't have a plan for the crystals as well. I just place them on the nail however I feel like at the time. So this is what I came up with for this nail. So then on this nail, I decided to do some crystals on the side. I'm just using Crystal AB. I'm using a rainbowy purpley one that I don't know the name of. And then I'm using a light amethyst as well to get some extra purple in there. On her middle finger here, I'm just doing a line from the cuticle area and just adding 3 crystals. I used crystal clear as well at the top. And then on this thumb, I'm kind of doing the same thing, just crystals in the center in a line. So you can kind of see what I did on this thumb, but it was blurry. And then on this thumb, I'm kind of doing a swoopy design that will look like a little necklace jewelry. Okay, so we are almost done. Here's how they look so far. And now we can top coat. I'm going to be using my Glitterbels No Wipe Topcoat. This is a super shiny top coat. So I'm just applying this near the cuticle area. You're going to want to make sure your brush is not oversaturated so it doesn't seep into the cuticle area, because that'll just be a big mess. I have the finger still bent downward when I'm doing stuff like this, again, so that no product seeps into her sidewalls or anything. And then when you're applying top coat near crystals, make sure you push it up towards the crystals so it can seep underneath them, which will help them last. But don't get it on top of your crystals, because you will ruin the shine, because these are genuine crystals. So after you've applied your top coat, well, I always do this. I always wear gloves. So after I've applied my top coat, I use my gloved finger to wipe underneath the nail. That'll take off any extra bulk that bulked your sidewalls up. So go under like that. But make sure you're wearing gloves or lint-free wipe or something. Don't use your bare finger. So now I'm applying top coat on her other hand. The one hand is in the light curing. And now I am top coating the other hand. So pretty. There was a teeny piece of glue or something sticking up there. It was annoying me. But there's nothing I can do at this point because the crystals were already on. So she's stuck with that one little annoying chunk of glue on the side of that nail. So if you do get top coat that seeps out of place, I just use my crystal picker upper tool on the other side and kind of wipe it out of the way. So you can also wipe off your brush and then turn it on the side to get close into the sidewalls like I am doing right here. Okay, so I gave that a full cure, and here is the finished design, both hands together. I feel like they did flow well, and I'm glad I added that darkness to the pointer finger there, because I feel like it made the nails flow really nicely. What do you guys think of this set? I thought it turned out super pretty, and you can see that those flakes don't look yellow anymore. So I don't know why they looked yellow when I was doing them. They definitely have that kind of like bluish tint to them, so it's super weird. In person, they looked like they do here. It's weird that my camera was pulling yellow. So hope you guys liked this set. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Everything you've seen here will be in my description box, and you can shop on my site, Nail Throne, if you want. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye.